Suge tried to destroy my record company with the help of others, Dre. So right now we're getting everything back together and we finna come out, fully loaded.
Andre wanted Eazy dead.
Suge Knight's making noise again, and he's not holding back. From his cell in RJD Correctional Facility in San Diego, Suge has made it crystal clear he's not making peace with nobody. If you thought time behind bars would calm him down, think again. He's doing interview after interview, spilling wild stories and taking shots at everyone from Tyron Turner to Daz Dillinger.
Going nowhere near the hospital. So when it happened, as you know, for some strange reason, but now we know the real reason, Snoop did not attend the fight with us or the club, the after party at Club 662. And what's so crazy about that, we thought it was strange that he wasn't there. This is the first one he did attend. And according to Warren G and everybody else, now we know why he did. But to get straight to the point was this. I was at my house in Vegas and I started calling Snoop, telling him, hey, what's up? Like it's something wrong with this situation. Pac in the hospital, you come holler at him, come check on him. So he drove down and I was at the house waiting on him. And Tupac's mother was at my house.
Biggie and even Eazy-E. Suge got stories stacked up like he's been saving receipts for years. And trust, we're about to break it all down. You remember the last time Suge sat down and got to talking? His main targets were Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, and he did not hold back. Suge basically tried to play Snoop, saying he was a no-show when Tupac was in the hospital.
Doc's contract, and he sold his songs for $100 watch, $150 chain. So when I never seen anything like it in the world.
Right.
So when I went to go get Doc's situation squared away, that's when Dre came.
Right.
Dre said, well, look, I'm not really from Compton. Everybody used you against me. He said, I'm over here, Ruthless, and I got this deal that for a bonus, if I do 2 records, I'll probably get a swimming pool in my backyard.
Right. Claiming Snoop never bothered to visit and throwing serious shade on his loyalty. But here's where it gets wild, because Snoop had his own version of that moment. According to him, Tupac's own mom saw him pull up to the guest house where he actually spoke to her and to Pac himself. That ain't exactly someone who was ducking the scene, right? Then Suge dropped another bomb, saying Snoop supposedly offered to name his unborn son Tupac. Just out of nowhere, no request, no push from anyone, just straight up decided to honor Pac like that. But according to Suge, the beef with Snoop didn't start at the hospital. It had been brewing way before that. Suge claims it all goes back to an ugly situation where a bad boy affiliate allegedly tried to run up on him. Suge says when things popped off, everybody around him jumped in. Pac was ready, Dre was swinging, the crew wasn't playing, but Snoop, he just stood there like it wasn't his problem. No fists, no words. Just watched it happen like it was a movie.
So we back by the pool, and then the pool area is like 2 big guest houses. So as when Snoop come up and there's other people out there, we walk in the back to talk. As we start talking, I said, I'm on him. Like, man, why you ain't here? You should have been at the hospital. And then Tupac's mother was there, and Fanny, she was like, yeah, I know you should want to see him. He told her, he was like, well, look, Tupac hates me right now. He mad at me. He hates me. So I feel bad, and that's why I didn't go up there. And Tupac's mother said, well, look, Pac was mad at me too.
And that's where the tension really kicked off. Suge never forgot that. He felt like Snoop was playing the sidelines while others were putting in work. But the situation didn't stop there. It allegedly got real nasty after the beatdown. Suge says they did something wild. They started peeing in champagne bottles and made the dude drink it. That's grimy. Then Suge takes it even further, dragging Dr. Dre into the mess. He claims Dre went all the way off on the dude too, to a point that's got people raising their eyebrows. Suge said Dre didn't just help. They claim he went in a little too hard, if you know what I mean. Real twisted stuff.
For a few things, I'd rather not. Well, for some stealing shit, she said, right? But, we all do that with our mothers. So she said, well, he was mad at me too, but that's my son, I'm there. And if he hates you, you still supposed to go do the right thing and go visit him, right? So as we start talking, Snoop did start crying and fell down and start throwing up, like literally throwing up, right? So we looking at him like, damn, what happened to this dude? I don't know where you get all the extras from, but they had a conversation at the hospital and all that. That's absolutely not true. Say less, if you know what I mean.
And Suge is still on Snoop's neck. He's calling him out over the death row situation, saying that whole Snoop bought death row headline is fake. According to Suge, the deal wasn't straight, and Snoop's got no real claim to the label. Instead of spending on security and sleeping with one eye open, Suge says Snoop should just fix his paperwork and pay him what he owes. Suge even mentions a lawsuit tied to that same shady deal. It's messed up, straight up sad, the way things fell apart. Suge Knight says when Tupac started blowing up, he got real frustrated with the crew.
Boo Boo is pregnant. That's Shantae, Snoop's wife, by the way. That's the homegirl. She good people. So he told both of us that Boo Boo's pregnant. If it's gonna be a boy, he gonna name him Tupac, after Tupac. She had a boy, and they named him Cordell. That's Snoop's last son with her.
Why? Because he felt like he was the only one truly writing for everybody. Pac was going hard for the whole squad, but in return, nobody had that same energy for him, and it started to eat at him. Then Suge dropped another bomb. He claims that back when Snoop was fighting his infamous murder case, Suge and the legal team asked Dr. Dre to step up, to take the stand as a character witness for Snoop. But Dre said no, just like that. And that refusal sparked real tension between Pac and Dre.
And it's Snoop, because Snoop the only one, besides myself, when I said everybody, my bad, Snoop the only one didn't participate of beating the dude's ass. But you know, Snoop was a good dude. He always had a good heart. He was like, nah, man, you know how you talk.
Pac didn't understand how Dre could just sit back when one of his own was facing prison time. That silence hit different, and it didn't sit right with Pac. After Tupac's death, Suge says he picked up the torch and carried the beef forward, especially against Dr. Dre, Eminem, and later 50 Cent. That's when things really started escalating.
That little Michael Jackson voice, he was like, nah, man, you know, that because he worked for Bad Boy, we don't have to be doing all this, and this the West Coast, but we don't got nothing against it. You know, that's the kind of...
Once M and 50 got signed to Dre's Aftermath label, the whole feud took on a new life. Suge says that's why he pulled up to 50's N.W.A Club video shoot with a whole squad of Mexican gang members ready to stir the pot and send a message. And according to Suge, things got even more heated. He claims the G-Unit crew, including Eminem, were acting tough at first. But when Suge made his move, they switched up and called the cops.
I ain't gonna tell the police that somebody has with them. As you know, usually when something crazy happened, nobody don't want to give on the police report to them. Oh, they had with me. Oh, they did this with me. You know, so I'm just thinking, no. So Andre, and it's real talk. I don't care who believe it, don't believe it. Have no reason to lie. Andre was like, but believe me, it's not the first time that rodeo happened, because we all seen certain things they did, if you know what I mean. So, believe it or not, Andre, Dr. Dre beat it up a little.
That's how Suge ended up catching a probation violation. All because they supposedly couldn't handle the pressure and had the law step in. Now jump to this latest interview. Suge Knight's got something to say about Eazy-E too. And trust, their history runs deep. Most folks know Dr. Dre and Eazy-E helped launch the legendary N.W.A, but it all started under Ruthless Records, Eazy's own label, built off money he made hustling in the streets. That wasn't no regular record deal either. This was street-funded, real-deal business.
Got sued for the civil case. I just found out you never paid my money back. I had to pay some of that for it. You didn't even have an album out. You owe me, bro. But you ain't too smart, because if somebody really owe you, if you really owe somebody, pay that person their money. You're going to spend more money on beefing up security or living in fear. Or when I come home, knock on my door and explain to me why you're not going to run me my bread. You don't got to talk tough. We don't got to talk about each other. That gets nowhere. Whoever have a situation, we can have a situation. But one person or 3 or 4 people is not bigger than hip-hop. We should be trying to figure out how to make hip-hop.
But things started falling apart when Dre and the DOC realized they were getting shortchanged. They felt trapped in a so-called slave contract, and they wanted out fast. That's when Suge Knight enters the picture. Fresh off allegedly muscling Vanilla Ice for royalties, Suge had a reputation, and Dre and the DOC knew he was the man to make things happen by any means necessary. But here's where the story gets murky and juicy. Unlike Vanilla Ice, Eazy-E wasn't someone Suge could just intimidate. Eazy was from the streets for real. He knew how the game worked, and he wasn't about to fold just because Suge was flexing. This wasn't no soft target. This was Eazy-E. Over the years, different versions of the story have popped up about how Suge got Dre and DOC out of their contracts. But Suge's version, he claims it got straight up grimy. According to Suge, he set a trap for Eazy-E, using Dre as bait, and then had Eazy jumped, just like that.
And I said, what's going on here? And Eazy said, you know this guy Suge Knight? I said, yeah. He says, well, I'm going to kill him. He said, this guy's going to be a problem, and I think I should kill him. And I said, let me think let me think this thing through. I said, first of all, we're doing $10 million a month with 6 employees. We don't even have a typewriter in the office. I said, we're the most successful startup record company in the history of the music business. And you want to kill this guy? I said, said, that just doesn't make any sense to me. And you know something? I should have let him kill him.
Yeah.
You know, I would have done the world a favor. He would have done it for sure by himself. You know, he always rolled by himself. And he was.
Now here's where it gets real dark. Suge Knight's story about what went down with Eazy-E is taking a whole new turn in this latest interview. For years, the rumor was that Suge strong-armed Eazy into releasing Dr. Dre and the others from Ruthless Records by threatening his family. The street's been saying Suge pulled out a piece of paper with Eazy's mama's address on it and told him straight up, if he didn't sign those release papers, she was gonna get a visit. And just like that, Suge got what he wanted. But now, Suge's saying that version ain't the truth at all. In fact, he's throwing major blame on Dr. Dre, saying it was Dre who really wanted Eazy gone for good. Suge claims Dre made a phone call to Eazy-E, telling him he wasn't messing with Suge anymore and just wanted his vocals for a couple tracks on his new album.
Everybody's destroying hip-hop. You guys are making it work. If they do a stream, and if you do 1 million streams and you only get $300, that's not a sign of slavery. That's worse than being a slave. Snoop, that's getting raped without the baby oil. But at the same time, what's to talk about? If you have Death Row, you destroyed it. You messed up the name. Why you not doing something with No Limit? You didn't want to be on Death Row. You was a No Limit soldier. Once you the same guy saying you had to get away from P because P selling drugs, his own drugs, killed his own daughter. How would I know he said you didn't say that? You didn't say it to me personally.
Dre told him to come through like everything was cool, then dipped. According to Suge, as soon as Dre left, he turned to him and said, I want you to shoot Eazy in the heads and take pictures. Suge even claims Dre was smiling when he said it, like it was just another studio session. But Suge insists he wasn't there to do any of that. When Eazy showed up at the studio, Suge says he was strictly about business. He even pitched a merger. Eazy could keep Ruthless Records, Suge would run Death Row, and together they'd push Jerry Heller out of the game completely. That was the plan. No threats, no setups, just a power play to control the West Coast music scene. Here's where the story hits a whole other level of wild. Suge Knight says that once Eazy-E pulled up to the studio, he straight up asked to talk to Dr. Dre face to face. That's when Suge dropped the bomb. He told Eazy, Dre wants you dead. And Eazy didn't brush it off. Suge says Eazy broke down crying right there on the spot. He couldn't believe it until Suge allegedly proved it with a phone call.
We all know you said it. For doing something against the homie, the last thing I want to see you in handcuffs. I know you can't handle it. I know you can't deal with this, and I don't want to see you in prison. And you're not going to be in prison. Not on my watch, but you know your role, what you participated in. You know your role, what you put up. And for you to still lie, become pop like y'all was friends, it's sad. It's sad.
Dre on the other end, silent when Eazy asked where he was. It was deep. According to Suge, Eazy was heartbroken, confused, and completely blindsided. And with all that pressure building, Suge gave him a choice. Sign over the artist right now or handle it later. In front of a judge, he wasn't backing off. And at that point, Eazy signed. Now, whether you believe Suge's version or not, one fact remains. Eazy did end up giving up Dre and the other Ruthless artists. Something happened behind the scenes that flipped the script.
Suge tried to destroy my record company with the help of others, Dre. So right now we're getting everything back together and we finna come out, fully loaded.
Eazy was pissed off at Suge for taking Dre, and it was much.
And Jerry Heller? He later admitted that after that meeting, Eazy was so furious with Suge, he wanted him gone for good. Heller even said he regretted stopping Eazy from taking Suge out permanently. The tension was so real, even Eazy-E had murder on his mind during that heated era, especially with the way things were going with Death Row, Suge, Dre, the whole crew. But it didn't stop there. Nah, things just kept spiraling.
Because he deserves a fair shot at proving his innocence.
But he's not my enemy. He's still a black man. He's still a man that have kids, maybe even grandkids, who knows. His mother's still living. And I say that because he deserves a fair chance in court. If I get to telling truthful things and factual things, it's a big possibility he will lose in court. And when it's all said and done, I don't want to end up like that. Because if Puffy got to go down, what about the executives and the white executives who participated also? And it's just not fair. I believe in fairness. So I choose not to comment on that situation. I want him to have a fair chance to prove it.
After that explosive moment between Eazy-E and Suge, the streets were buzzing. And Suge, he was on a mission to rewrite the whole power structure of West Coast rap. With Dre on his side and Eazy stripped of key artists, Death Row was rising fast, while Ruthless Records was starting to crumble from the inside. Behind the scenes, Eazy-E was fuming. He felt betrayed, not just by Suge, but by Dre most of all. This was someone he helped put on, someone he built N.W.A with, and now he was watching him team up with Suge Knight to crush everything they had built. Eazy wasn't just mad, he was plotting. Word was he wanted revenge not just in business, but in blood. Meanwhile, Suge was moving like a chess player, calculating, building his empire, and burning bridges with zero hesitation. He knew Eazy was angry, but he didn't care. He was already focusing on expanding Death Row's reach, signing more artists, locking down deals, and turning the label into a straight-up powerhouse.
This is a new thing, right?
Yeah.
See, if somebody gonna do something about it, technology is so high, right?
Right.
So if you shoot somebody, you go to jail forever. So the kids, you don't want to go to jail forever, right? So they got this new thing out there. People sell them all the time. They got this stuff they get blood from somebody with AIDS, and then they shoot you with it.
Oh,
so
well, that seems bad.
That's a slow death.
Yeah.
An Eazy-E thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay. Way to lighten the mood.
He had Dre in the studio, Pac on the way, and the streets watching every move. But with all this power came paranoia. Suge had enemies stacking up, from Eazy to Jerry Heller to folks he used to do business with. He started moving heavy with security, watching his back every second. People were switching sides, alliances were crumbling, and nobody knew who to trust anymore. This whole beef took a heartbreaking turn when Eazy-E was diagnosed with AIDS in February of '95, and just a month later, he was gone. The speed of it all left people shook. Eazy went from looking healthy and full of life to being on his deathbed almost overnight. And to this day, there are still folks out there whispering that maybe Suge Knight had something to do with it.
Shot at. I grabbed Tupac and put him down and laid on top of him. That's how I got shot in the head. And for those that say, hey, I got grades or whatever else, that's all you got to do. I'm a betting man. I used to live in Loserville. I went to UNLV. Loserville is Vegas. I went to UNLV. I bet all day. Put that money. I can show my x-ray. You'll see a bullet an inch into my skull. You'll see that the doctor's report said if they would have removed it, and if they couldn't remove it, because if it was another inch, I'd have been in the vegetable or I'd have been dead. So that makes no sense. And how can I use a little man to shield a big-ass man? When it comes to the people who just want to talk.
Why? Because of the strange and chilling comments Suge made on Jimmy Kimmel Live years ago. He joked on live TV about giving someone Eazy-E-style AIDS instead of shooting them. That line had people's jaws on the floor and the conspiracy theories flying. It wasn't just dark humor, it felt too specific. Now, when Suge got asked about that Kimmel moment in a new interview with Dialogo, he didn't deny the comment, but he quickly shut it down, saying he wasn't about to incriminate himself on camera. Still, he doubled down on one thing. He thinks it's super suspicious how Eazy passed so fast. Suge said it made no sense. Eazy was strong, active, and didn't show any signs of being sick until right before he died. After touching on that, Suge switched gears and started speaking on Sean. He made it clear, they ain't friends, but they ain't enemies either. Suge said he feels for what Sean's going through right now, and talked about how tough it is for a black man to defend himself when the system is stacked against him.
But at the same time, he was still technically dialed in to Interscope. Interscope would definitely have to make sure if Tupac supposed to got some money and I refused to pay him, Interscope would have stepped up and had to pay him, or he could have got out the contract between both of them. But like I said before, on the Interscope contract, if Pac sold a million records, Pac already would have got $300,000. With me, he would have got $1 million, and I changed that. Instead, if he sold 1 million records, he'd get 2 million. So it was no room from stealing from. But at the same time, I'm not saying something didn't go wrong, because you got to remember one.
According to Suge, once you're caught in the legal mess, it's less about guilt and more about survival, especially when you're in the spotlight. Suge Knight opened up a little more in this part of the interview, saying he relates to what Sean's going through. According to him, that's exactly why he's been staying quiet on Sean's legal issues, because everyone deserves a fair shot at proving their innocence, especially when you're already dealing with a system that's built to tear you down. Then the conversation took a turn back to Tupac. Suge addressed one of the wildest rumors out there, that when they were in the BMW the night Pac got shot, Suge supposedly used him as a human shield. Suge shut that all the way down. He said that story's bogus and the truth is way different. He actually claims he got shot in the head trying to protect Tupac during the ambush. That's where I got shot at, Suge said, making it clear he wasn't ducking or hiding behind nobody. And then came another hot topic, money. Suge responded to the long-standing accusations that he was shortchanging his artists, specifically Pac, on their payouts. He said that was just lies being pushed around. According to him, there's no way he could have been robbing Pac because Interscope was involved in all the paperwork and would have caught it immediately. In fact, Suge flipped it and said if anyone was doing the robbing, it was Interscope themselves. He claims they used to pay Pac only around $400,000 for selling 1 million records, which sounds crazy, but under death row, Suge says Pac was pulling in at least $2 million for the same numbers. Suge even said that's why Interscope wanted out. They didn't like how much money Pac was getting once he was under death row's roof. Suge Knight even got to talking about Daz Dillinger. Yeah, that Daz. And in a rare moment, he actually admitted he's sorry for bullying Daz all these years, but don't get it twisted. In the very next breath, he went right back to throwing shade, Suge clowning again, saying he used to take all Daz's girls and called him nothing more than a Snoop Dogg groupie. So much for an apology, right? If you want the full chaos straight from the source, go check out the interview on the Art of Dialogue channel. Suge Knight got stories for days, and he's been name dropping left and right. Dre, Snoop, Eazy, Pac, Sean, Daz, you name it. And now, Suge says his #1 goal is to get out of prison and be with his family. But while he's locked up, it seems like he's clearing house, handling unfinished business and airing everybody out. Now look, whether you believe all this or think it's just a personal vendetta against Snoop and Dre, well, one thing's for sure, Suge ain't done talking. He's still got more secrets, more stories, and probably more drama to spill. So while he keeps dropping bombs, make sure you don't miss a beat. Drop a comment below and let us know who you think's telling the truth. Hit that like button, share it with your crew, and subscribe so you don't miss what goes down next. And yo, don't forget to check out Rat Rewind's merch. We got the hardest hoodies, clean tees, and them fresh crew necks. Show love, rep the culture, and let us know what you think. Catch you next time, because this hood drama, it's far from over. Tap in and see what's popping next right here in our hood.